Now, if you are a product designer and you're looking to grow, but the websites you visit are either Dribbble, Behance, or generic Medium articles, then you are missing out on so much more. In this video, I want to share with you guys 14 uncommon websites that you should be visiting to become a better product designer. Now, all 14 websites will be broken down into 4 key categories.
I feel so much better.
Now, the first category of websites will be around helping you stay on top of the latest tech and startup news around the globe. Second category is a digest of all that information. So if you don't like reading news articles, then you can get a digest, a quick summary. Now, the third set of websites will be to help you make better research and better analysis of competitors. So if you wanted to be researching about what a competitor is doing, how they're performing, what they're focusing on, these will be great websites for you. Now, last but not least, the websites I want to share with you are in the category of helping you stay inspired and motivated. So these websites will be around community building, being part of a community to help you stay motivated as a product designer. So let's dive into the first category of staying on top of the latest tech and startup news. Now, the first website I want to share with you guys is TechCrunch. Now, TechCrunch has been my all-time favorite news outlet for startup and tech news. They are always first to market. So as you can see here, they talk about Apple, which is like large, big tech companies. And they also talk about Block, founded by Twitter founder Jack, Slack Gains, Pitch.com, the presentation app. They talk about pretty much all the great startups around the world, what they're doing, money that they're raising, and the latest updates on them. Now, if you wanted to take this a little bit further, you can subscribe to their TechCrunch Plus. So it is an exclusive membership. You pay a monthly fee and you get access to more deep dives and analysis from the TechCrunch team. Now, I've been using this website for so many years now. Hands down, my go-to news outlet for startup news. Now, the second website I'm going to share with you guys is Crunchbase News. So you can see Crunchbase News as TechCrunch's little brother living in the older brother's shadow. But ultimately, they do cover some stories that TechCrunch does not cover because it's practically impossible for them to cover every startup on the spectrum. But Crunchbase News is a great little outlet. They do cover some specific news that, once again, TechCrunch doesn't. But really, it's really focused around tech and startups. And these two outlets are my go-to to stay on what is happening in the latest startup and tech news. Now, if you wanted a news outlet for things a little bit more broad, a little bit more high level, then I would definitely recommend Bloomberg.com. Now, Bloomberg.com is definitely a news outlet, like official news outlet in the States. I pay for the app because I do like accessing all their news conveniently from my phone. I do like to read the news in the morning, I like to nerd out a little bit. But if you head over to their technology pillar on the website, you can access all these articles for free. But once again, Bloomberg is less like TechCrunch, where they focus really on just startups. Bloomberg is more high level, more broad, and more sort of covers the entire industry as a whole. So similar to Bloomberg, you can also check out Wired.com. This is another resource that is similar to Bloomberg in a way that it covers the entire industry, more of the top key players and less about startups. But this gives you a general idea and general gist of what's happening around the tech space. Now, once again, it's really important for product designers who want to excel to be on top of the latest news. Whether you're a freelancer or you're working in-house as a product designer, understanding what these key players are doing in the startup world and in the tech space always helps you stay at the forefront of new ideas and new strategies that you can implement in the projects that you're working on. Now, let's say you are not the type to read news articles. You're not much of a reader. You don't mind reading more snippets if people summarize it for you. Well, there is a lazy service that you can subscribe to, and that is called Mailbrew. Now, Mailbrew, if you just submit your email, they'll send you a daily digest of what's happening around the world in short snippets, right? So instead of having to read all these lengthy articles, you just get a digest, a quick summary of all the latest and most important things that are happening in the tech, in the startup world, and just cool products that are being launched. Now, I am subscribed to Mailbrew, and I do get a daily digest every single morning, and I don't read every single one of them, but when I do have the time, it is nice to have a quick summary, so I don't have to go and do deep dives into every single article. Now, while we're talking about newsletters, there is another newsletter that I do like to receive, and that is Andrew Chen's newsletter. Now, Andrew Chen, as you can see on his website, he is a partner at A16Z, which is short for Andreessen Horowitz. Now, they are a very reputable and one of the largest venture capitalist firms in the United States. They've backed all the great companies that you use today. So they're actually that big. Now, as you scroll further down, you can see that Andrew Chen really dives deep into some more advanced topics around like growth hacking, scaling products, and really just like the mathematics behind the business and unit economics of a business. So I would say he talks about a little bit more of the advanced topics, but even if you are junior, I think it's extremely advantageous to be diving deep and trying to understand perspectives around how someone this advanced and like an industry leader and a key figure in the space thinks about products. So the more you dive deep into these topics, the more you immerse yourself into this culture, the more inspired and more motivated you become, because you're actually absorbing and seeing things differently and beyond what you see as a personal individual product designer. So I would definitely recommend Andrew Chen's newsletter if you are into sort of growth and more of the business side of product development. Now, onto the third category of websites. These are websites that are helping you make better analysis and a better research of competitors. So let's say you are a product designer and you're doing some competitor research or analysis of what your competitors are doing. The first website I would recommend is Crunchbase. Crunchbase really is just a massive database of practically all the startups in the world in one database. So let's say we're doing research on Airbnb. I can head over to Airbnb, click on their profile, and I get like a very quick summary of how they're performing. So you can see if they're listed, if they're a public company, you can see their ticker, you can see how many acquisitions they've actually made, you can see how many investments, how many exits, how much funding that they've actually received. Now, if you scroll further down, you can also get a general gist about more of a summary of what the company is about. Now, the most important part, if you head over to Signals, you can see there is a quick aggregation and also a nice summary of all the latest news about this company. So if you're doing a competitor analysis, it's great to know that there are X amount of employees. It's great to know when it was founded. It's great to know that they're on Twitter, LinkedIn to do their social marketing. But more importantly, you want to understand what is actually happening with this business. What are their key milestones? What's the latest for this company? So reading the news is actually a really important part of doing research, understanding what is actually happening. Now, if you head over to the financials, you can also see something that I like to nerd out with is seeing how much money that they've actually raised over what sort of time horizon. You can see some of it is public information, but some of it is private information. But this gives you a general gist about how a company is performing in terms of the raising landscape. Now, another tool that I really love using to do further research is TradingView. Now, TradingView is really a research tool for investors. So if you are investing in, for example, the stock market, and you want to do some research about a publicly listed company, which Airbnb is one, if I type in Airbnb and do a quick search for them, this takes me to their profile page. And once again, this is very heavy on the data side of things, but if you have an interest in it, you can find some really interesting things. We'll start off with the news. Now, similar to Crunchbase, you can get an aggregate of all the news that is about Airbnb. And because this is a tool for research for investors, you can definitely rely on them to get all the latest and most accurate information, right? It's an aggregation. Now, on the far right-hand side, you can see financials. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Now, as the nerd I am, I love to really binge and just nerd out on numbers to see how a company is performing, how they're using their capital in terms of capital allocation, and just really see how a business is performing in terms of numbers, right? As a product designer, the more you understand of a business, the better you are going to be and the more competitive you will be on the market. So for example, let's go ahead and take a look at their statements. Something that I love taking a look at is just top line revenue, right? You can see that top line revenue, they've been growing and there was a significant dip in 2020. So why did that happen? Pandemic and the lockdowns, right? And then in 2021, there was a significant increase and 2022 numbers are just not out yet. Now, to be clear, all publicly listed companies, in other words, that are listed on the stock exchange, they have to declare all their revenue and all their numbers for investors, because if someone wants to invest in their company, we need this type of information. So with this, you can actually form some really interesting insights with further research. So let me ask you a very quick question. Now that we know that Airbnb over the last couple of years, they have been growing, right? They've been doing fairly well. They've been increasing their revenue. But in 2020, due to the lockdowns and pandemic, no one could travel. So no one was booking accommodation. So you can see that there was a drop in 30% of their revenue. Because lockdowns are easing, people are traveling, people are going on holidays now. If you think about it, because Airbnb is starting to open back up, people are starting to book on their platform. As a business, as a product, where do you think they are allocating their capital now? Are they reinvesting back to the company in product? Are they hiring more engineers? Are they hiring more marketers? Are they hiring more salespeople? Have a think about it. I want you to pause the video, or you can feel free to just think about it right now. But as you will see, as we start to do further research with different sources, you can start to uncover really interesting insights. Now I'll leave it there, and you can see from here, you can actually take a look at their balance sheet, their cash flows, and if you browse around TradingView, you can see there is a lot more information that you can dive into, but I'll let you do that in your own time. Now, another source to do research and analysis of your competitors or of other companies is LinkedIn, right? So let's just take a look at Airbnb on LinkedIn, and I can take a look at their company. Click onto their page, you can see that they've got nearly 50,000 employees worldwide. That's huge, very successful. You can see that a little bit more about their marketing campaigns, how they're utilizing LinkedIn to promote Airbnb and to create engagement. These are ideas that you can implement into your own projects for your clients or for your employer, the company that you're working for. But more interesting, if you head over to your Insights tab, and this is only exclusive to premium accounts, so I do have a premium account, you can see how many more people that they've actually hired, right? In this chart, you can see since August 2020, there was a bit of a plateau, no hiring, because obviously Airbnb had just let go a massive amount of people. But over the last year or so, they've practically doubled, nearly tripled their employees from 17,000 all the way up to nearly 50,000, right? If you scroll further down, you can actually see where they're reinvesting all their money and their capital, right? From a business point of view, this is very interesting, right? They're not putting money into more design or engineers, right? They already have a product. They're actually putting a lot of money back into administrative, sales, and operations. As you can see, all three of these sort of tied closely together. Operations is how to run the operation of the business, right? Having everything running smoothly. You have sales, which in other words is marketing, getting Airbnb out there. I can imagine sales teams are reaching out to hosts to really like update their listing, to get more hosts on board, because really when people start traveling again, then the users using Airbnb, if they don't have enough inventory, in other words, hosts on the platform, it's a bad experience, right? So they need to scale the business and reinvest into different departments of the business to make sure Airbnb can deliver a stellar experience, right? Interesting insights, right? From looking at some numbers of the financials, right? As you can see over here in terms of their statements, lots of money was lost, right? Lots of progress was lost. Now you can see in just the last year, they're reinvesting, trying to catch up on all that loss, right? These insights don't make you a better digital designer, right? It doesn't make you better at UI design, but it does help you make better strategies, form better strategies, and form better ideas for the projects that you are working on, right? Scroll further down, you get some more personalized information about like who's hiring, who's actually joined the company, notable company alumni. And you can also see in terms of job openings, right? Have they been increasing? Have they been decreasing? Engineering has been decreasing. Human resources has been decreasing. Legal has been increasing. These are great insights that you can start to talk to founders about, for more meaningful conversations, because you're actually caring about the business. Now onto the last set of websites, right? These websites are really to help inspire and help motivate you. So the first website would be Product Hunt. If you are a product designer and you feel like, you're just losing motivation and you would love to have a website where you can see new ideas, new products being built, Product Hunt would be the go-to. Don't visit dribbble.com to be inspired as a product designer. If you're a product designer, be inspired by real products that you can actually use and that are actually being built. So Product Hunt is a website that will get daily updates of all these cool products that people are actually building and using every single day. So here you can see your next favorite thing is like Morgan. There are these really cool apps, text to image by Photoleap, AI powered text to image, turn words into art on your phone, right? There are great apps that you can discover and just be motivated and be inspired by what other people are creating. So if you click into any of these products, you get a bit of a description. You can see everyone that's engaged on it. You can also engage yourself into the thread of the comments and understand like what is the founder doing, what are their thoughts, people's feedback. It's a great place to sort of like just integrate yourself into this whole culture around product development. So you can also go ahead and visit the website. And the great thing about this is it's so much better than a Dribbble shot. A Dribbble shot is purely just an idea with a few pixels. This is a real app with great visuals, so you get your visual inspiration. You can actually see how the website's built. You get some interaction inspiration. You can actually engage and create an account. You learn so much more from what other people are building than just looking at a simple Dribbble shot. Now, another website that is quite similar to Product Hunt is Beta List. So Beta List is an aggregation of all these great cool apps that are in beta. So they're probably very early stage. They're not ready to go to public just yet, but they want to get their first few customers. And in startup world, we call that early adopters. So here's a great place to find really early staged ideas and products that you can play around with. Great place once again to sort of just like learn about what other people are doing. Stay inspired, stay motivated. Now, when it comes to communities, some of you guys might want to be part of a community where you can follow what other people are working on, what other people are building, the challenges that they're facing, and just engage in some of these conversations and also be able to ask questions as well. So another great website is called Indie Hackers, and they have a great podcast as well. I actually have that favorited in Spotify and I listen to it whenever they have a new podcast come out. But this is a great forum or community, if you will. And this is where pretty much a lot of people in 9-to-5 roles, they either quit their full-time role and they jump out to do their own thing and they try to build their own startup from scratch, or they're in a 9-to-5 role and they're just dabbling and just building a cool company on the side and they're sharing the journey. The great thing about Indie Hackers is that everyone is very transparent in terms of like how they talk about things. They share their numbers, they share their traction, they share all the problems, all the challenges, all the wins, and you can learn so much from these real world experiences. So for example, let's take a look at this. This guy has a topic called spent $2,000 on Facebook ads. He's got 28 upvotes. So if I click into this will take me to this single post as well. And you can see, once again, real transparent. Since I started to do Facebook ads, he spent $2,000, breaks it down for you. And obviously this entire thread, you can see there's a lot. He's talking all about his learnings, right? He's sharing his secrets so other people can learn from it. You can see that people have really meaningful conversations on this. I personally don't share too much of my businesses on Indie Hackers, but when I was part of the community early on, I did talk about it, I did share about it, and I also did learn a lot from other people as well. Now, last but not least, we have Reddit. Now, if you're a product designer that likes to be part of communities, Reddit is a great place for you to access different subreddits. And a different subreddit is really just a different category. So in the top left corner, I can head over to home. You can see that I'm actually part of all sorts of subreddits. I got some crypto ones, I got some design ones, got some business related ones, entrepreneurship, growth hacking, marketing, coding, JavaScript, all sorts of stuff that you can just really integrate yourself into a community of like-minded people, talk, ask questions, see what other people are working on, lend a helping hand. As you can see in the top right corner, I have 842 karma points, meaning that people have commended me for the support that I've provided. in terms of answering their questions. So once again, remember, being a great product designer does not mean that you isolate yourself into product design and that's your entire world. Because remember, to build a successful product, you need to understand how the marketing works, right? How does the acquisition, the distribution channels work? And then you need to also understand the business side of things, right? When you are able to join product design with marketing, with the business acumen, you are then able to really think about how you can build a product that people will need. Then you can think about, because you understand marketing, you know how to package that need into a want, how to make it more desirable. And then once you start to really fascinate yourself by the business side of product, you can then understand the fundamentals, like how do we actually make this product profitable then? You think about pricing strategies, you're thinking about, do we need to go raising money? And if a company has raised some money, like you have these ideas about and different strategies about how you can utilize that capital. It's really interesting, and believe me, when you start to broaden your horizons and you start to learning about different departments of how to build a successful company or a successful product, you start to realize there is this big, huge piece that you've always missed out on, and it really does open up your world in terms of product design. Alright guys, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, which website do you plan to visit or check out? Let me know which one's your favorite, and I will see you guys in another video very soon.